Hello everyone, Soprano Theories here, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another video. Before we get started, be sure to click subscribe and click the bell to get notifications on all upcoming Sopranos content. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, as well as check out my merch via Spreadshirt. All links will be linked below. As we all know, within the Sopranos universe, there are and can be some wild conspiracy theories. But I must say, out of all the wild and wacky theories that are out there and surface the internet, this one makes some of the most sense. And it's the theory of Bobby Bacala while completing his first murder, where the victim was actually Janice's first son, Harpo. Throughout The Sopranos, we hear lots about Janice's lost son. In Season 3, Episode 2, when Livia passes away, Tony offers to fly out Janice for the funeral, because she later left the state of New Jersey after killing her ex-husband in Richie April. And while on the phone, Tony asks about Harpo, and Janice says that Hal is on pavers now, essentially saying that he's a street person.
Does Harpo know his grandmother died? Him I'll pay for. Bring him down from Montreal. He is your son.
Hal is on the pavers, Tony. He's, a street person.
Sorry.
Throughout The Sopranos, we never really saw Bobby Bacala take part in any heinous acts of violence. Sure, there was the time where he was involved in the Columbus Day protest and the work strike back in the beginning of the series. We also saw him intimidate a juror during the Junior Soprano trial to help out his good friend in Junior. And then there's the scene where Bobby threatens and beats the carnival worker who was responsible for the injuries that his wife Janice and their newborn baby girl had suffered on the ride that broke down. And of course, who could forget the Sopranos home movie episode where Bobby laid an actual beatdown to the boss. And during that episode, we see Tony and Bobby discuss the topic of death and how Bobby hasn't popped his cherry in that regard. Hence the fact that he hasn't killed anyone before, despite working for the mafia and being around the mafia with his father for his entire life. Initially, the reasoning for Bobby participating in his first murder is of course at the hands of Tony. Since Bobby beat up Tony fair and square, and Tony is a complete sociopath, he thinks that a fair punishment is for Bobby to commit his first murder. So, during a sit-down with some mobsters from Montreal, the one mobster discusses how this individual is causing him some trouble, as the stepson is battling for custody in court as he is trying to take his child away from his mother. However, it's interesting to note that if this were Harpo or Hal, he never really had a mother. And it's ironic because Janice basically took her son away from herself, as she wanted nothing to do with Harpo. The young man looks to be around the same age he would be if he were to be Janice's son. It's also interesting to note that the man has thick curly hair, just like his potential mother. The man is a musician, and Harpo was named after a song, Harpo's Blues by Phoebe Snow, as mentioned by Tony earlier in the series.
You know that song, Harpo's Song by Phoebe Snow? Because that's the song you named Harpo after, right? He's half French-Canadian, Harpo.
There's also the instrument itself that's a harp. And the definition of Harpo is a professional performer who tells jokes and performs comical acts. It's ironic because Eugene, Harpo's apparent father, was a circus worker. Just like the mobsters, Harpo too is French-Canadian. And as we all know that the only other time French-Canadian is referenced in The Sopranos is when Tony brings it up during Sunday dinner, where he says he wonders what's French-Canadian for growing up without a mother, as this is obviously him telling everyone how Janice abandoned her firstborn. This obviously showcases the sociopathic mentality and attitude within Tony, as he only does this to break Janice's so-called peace of mind mentality and her anger-free life.
He's half French-Canadian, Harpo. I wonder what's French-Canadian for I grew up without a mother. Sacre bleu, where is me mama?
It's quite possible that being the sociopath that Tony is that before Bobby kills this individual, that he and the French-Canadian mobsters are the only real ones who know the man's true identity, and that this man could possibly be Harpo. The name of the individual is never mentioned in the episode, so this is all open to interpretation. As we all know, there's been many occasions where family members kill each other in the mob world. As we all know, Tony's own mother and uncle wanted him dead at the beginning of the first season, or when Uncle Junior shot and almost killed Tony in season 6. As well as there are plenty of real-world examples as well. However, in the final episode of the series, Janice indicates to Tony that Harpo is going by Hal now, as this makes the assumption that Janice is still in contact with her son, so it ultimately ends this theory. This theory is primarily regarding the audience's reaction following the Sopranos home movies episode and storyline, as this episode left fans speculating after its initial airing. It all sort of adds up, but then Janice squashes this theory in the final episode of the series. As we all know, Tony essentially kills one of his other nephews in Christopher, so maybe he thinks, why not another in Harpo? What do you think? Do you think the man that Bobby killed was Harpo? Let me know down in the comment section below. For more Sopranos content, keep it locked here, right here on this channel.